Hey, if you end up enjoying this video, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to hit 5,000 by June, and I'd really appreciate it. Thanks so much. If you guys don't keep up with this game, the definitive update just came out, and one of the characters that I play, Cammy, I mostly play her because she doesn't have very many bad matchups, so she's always good to have in your back pocket and to kind of know how to play. But she got nerfed. Her Sin Heavy Punch got a little bit easier to whiff punish, and Medium Kick got easier to whiff punish. But one of the bigger ones was her health and her stun got dropped down, so it's now the lowest in the game alongside Akuma and Seth at I think 900. And to put that into perspective, the highest in the game is Zangief and Abigail. They have 1075 HP and 1100 stun, which means they can pretty much take an extra special move of damage sometimes, or just have like a little pixel or a little sliver at the end of a match from like a super or something that should have killed 98% of the cast, but those two characters can stay alive. And I know like a difference between 100 or like 25 HP to somebody who doesn't play fighting games might not sound like a big deal. It might not sound like anything at all. But like I said, you can take an extra special move. It literally means life or death in most situations. When characters like Abigail and Zangief get to survive most of your damage, because you usually cash out at the end of a round, usually use super or something to try and kill them. You now have no resources, and there's a big fucking guy on the other side of the screen who can blow you up, especially if he has V-Trigger. He can blow you up in like 1 or 2 interactions, so it's still scary. And a lot of the times, chip is not an option anymore because you spent the super, so you have to figure out how to land a clean hit on this guy after you just tanked everything and fucking stood up. It's like a final boss fight. And these situations are scary on any character, but especially on low HP ones, and that's something that I found out recently because I've been playing Cammy again. Having lower HP means you have to play that much better. You can't, mess up as many times, obviously, because you have a smaller health pool, so you have less mistakes you can make. And this can be really nerve-wracking because you know the one time you mess up, you're going to take like half, especially if you're playing against characters like Ryu right now. Ryu shits damage. He got a bunch of buffs. And he's already did damage before, but now he has more routes open to him to get into that damage. Characters like, I would say Sagat, but you can kind of bully him if you get in on him. But if he touches you, Sagat is going to blow you up. Balrog, that character, you win neutral on Cammy against Balrog, but if he does get his hands on you, he's gonna blow you the fuck up. And don't even get me started on the big bodies, Abigail, Zangief, even Honda to some extent. If they touch you, you're going to feel it. It's going to be very bad. And what that leads to is me just playing a lot more nervous, like because I know that there are going to be huge consequences to my actions. It makes me want to play a little bit less risky, which is good at times, but also bad at times against certain opponents. And overall makes me play a little bit less proactive than I normally would, which is not a good thing on a character like Cammy. My whole game plan is to push the opponent into the corner and then try and pressure them with all kinds of different strings and like dive kicking back in, dashing back in, doing all kinds of things to keep them in the corner and play proactively. And when I don't feel confident enough to do that, it's a problem. As stupid as it sounds, it really does take a little bit more confidence to play these lower HP characters, because you have to know, I need to play more solid than my opponent. I'll get the damage that I need, right? Because usually characters like Seth, Akuma, Cammy do a lot of damage. They just don't have a lot of HP. So you'll have that on your side, but you don't have the HP to fuck around. Like, you have to be very on point with your anti-airs, because it's where most of the damage comes from in these 2D games, right? Is jumping combos. In Tekken, it's like launchers, but in this game, it's jumping combos, so your anti-airs have to be on point, especially on these kind of characters. And your hit confirms have to be on point. I don't want to say they have to be immaculate, because sometimes it's just not going to happen. You're going to hit low forward, you're going to hear the sound, and then the game's going to roll back, and it's going to be a block. And it's not your fault, but you have to suffer those consequences now. Or sometimes you just straight up have a bad confirm. It's not even the game's fault. But I said that other thing because it happened to me earlier, and I'm still mad about it. But as soon as you act on this confirm, if it's a bad one, and you spiral arrow in, you're dead. Like, that could be half HP. It is not unrealistic for you to take half HP from like somebody doing a combo into super. And even if they don't cash it out, it's still like a fourth. It's like a quarter of your health. And that really does mess with me, because I know if I only have 2 bad confirms realistically before the match is over, the round is over. The games can go by so quick if I'm not on point, and it makes me very nervous to go into spiral arrow or whatever it is off of a confirm. I have to build up that confidence that I have playing a character like Karen before. And a big thing with Cammy in particular in this last patch of Street Fighter V is, like I said, her stand heavy punch and her stand medium kick. I think they nerfed the recovery, so it can be whiff punish a lot easier. And those 2 buttons, if you play her, or you watch anybody play her, are very prominent in her neutral. So not only do you have to play a little bit more solid, you can't whiff any buttons, you also don't have a lot of health to fuck up or get whiff punished, right? You can't whiff buttons on this character. And then something specific to me that I really need to work on is dive kicks out of like block strings. So doing crouch medium punch, crouch medium punch, crouch medium kick into like resetting the pressure with a dive kick. Going from that crouch medium kick to a dive kick is really difficult. It's a lot harder than you would think. And I end up just jumping over my opponent doing like jump medium kick. And I end up in the corner. So I really gonna mess with that. I'm also working on kind of constructing my pressure a little bit more and using blocks, like different block strings based on what my opponent's doing and kind of paying attention to what they do a lot more. But I'll make a whole different video about that. But I think that's going to be it. If you ended up enjoying this video or any of the ones you might have seen on the channel in the past, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. I'll talk to you again soon.